If I write 3 plus, and I give you a box, like you gotta fill in what's in the box, equals 7. Can you close that door? Yeah, please. Thank you. So what do you think we should put there? 3 plus what is 7?
4.
Yeah, 4. So this should be a 4. Something minus 10 is equal to 7. What's that something? 17. So some of these we can look at them and give you the answer without doing really any math, just by inspection. But soon enough the problem is going to be too complicated just to look at and go, the answer is this. And before we get to that, we're not going to write 3 plus a box. So the way we're going to write that question, we're going to say 3 plus x equals 7. Solve for x. X is the empty, the unknown. This will say what? X or y, you can use any variable you want. I use the word variable for them. Why? Because when you solve this, we said the unknown has to be what? 4 here. And the unknown here has to be what? 17. Notice the value of x is not the same. It changes. That's why we call them variables. So a variable is a letter, like x, y, z. So that's what a variable is. So like x, y, z. The value of that variable usually unknown. A constant is a number. When you say 2, that's a constant. 10 is a constant. 7 is a constant. Oh, I don't know why I wrote 7 here. A variable is a letter there. I meant z here. X, Y, Z. So those are constant. The value of them doesn't change. It's always the same. Any day you look at the 2 is going to be a 2. In the morning, at night, whatever the case. So the topic, Introduction to Basic Algebra. What's an algebraic expression? Yep. Is an expression that has what in it? That contains variables and constant. Variables, constants, and an operation. Arithmetic operation. Like what? 2x plus 4. That's an algebraic expression. 5x minus 6. That's an algebraic expression. X plus 20. That's an algebraic expression. And the next question, where do we find these? We get these actually from word problems, statements. So you have a statement and you try to say, okay, the problem might say the sum of 2 and y is. How do you write that? So let's see, how do we come up with these expressions? Well, we're going to look for keywords. And here's the keywords I have to pay attention to. If you hear the word, all of these indicate we have addition. All of them. You might hear the word plus. Increased. Increased by. The sum. You hear the word sum means addition. More than. Added. All of these let you know you have an addition. An example, 7 plus x. So when you see a statement like this, that's the same as what? X plus 7. Y is increased by 3. That means what? Is it y plus 3 or 3 plus y? It's actually y plus 3. The good news in math, with 3 plus y and y plus 3 are the same. For addition, for subtraction, it does make a difference. So it's really y plus 3. You're increasing, just like if I said to you, your age increased by 3. Well, you take your age and add to it 3. You don't take a 3 and add to it your age, but you take your age and add 3 to it. The sum of x and 20. Notice the word sum here, increased here, plus here. All these means addition. The sum means addition. X plus 20. When they give you the sum, the first one you see is you write first, the second one you write second. So x is first, 20 is second. 8 more than t. The way we write that is what? 8 more than. More than means addition. More than t. It's t plus 8. 5 added to x. You can write that as what? X plus 5. So these are the key words that I look for to tell me that's addition. What about subtractions? You're going to hear or see the word minus. You're going to see decreased by. Instead of the sum, what are you going to see? The difference. Instead of more than, what are you going to see? Less than. Instead of added, you're going to see what? Subtracted. Let me take some examples and change them to algebraic expressions. N minus 7. The way you write that is what? Minus means subtraction. Again, n minus 7 or 7 minus n. It does make a difference here. N minus 7. Think of it if I said to you,
It's like 1 minus 7.
if I said to you, Jakim, take your age minus 7. So what do? You subtract 7 from your age. So subtract 7 from n. That should be n minus 7. Not 7 minus n, n minus 7. T decreased by 4.3. I can use decimal numbers, who cares? That means what? Decreased by means subtractions again. T minus 4.3. The difference between x and y. Difference again means subtraction. And what you see first is you're going to write that first. I see x first, so that's x minus y, not y minus x. Because I see x first and I see y second, you got to write them that way. Six less than y. 6 less than y. That's y minus 6, not 6 minus y. And again, subtract 3 subtracted from a. That will be a minus 3. So that's how we know we have addition or subtraction. We look for keywords. Increased, plus, sum, more than, added. All of these addition. Subtractions, minus, decreased by. I'll put a line up there. Decrease, the difference, less than, and subtracted. Well, let's see what we have for multiplications and divisions. Multiplications. Times. You'll see the word times. Times means multiply. Product. Product means multiply. Of. Of means multiply. Let me try an example or two here. One on each one. 6 times x. Just like addition. Addition really didn't matter if you write the 6 first or x. The same thing with multiplications. You can write x times 6 or 6 times x. And if you have 6 times x, we never write 6 dot x. How do we write that? Yes, 6x. So when there is no operation between them, it always tells you it's multiplications. That's a 6x. The product of y and 5. Product means multiply. So it's y times 5 or 5 times y, which is what? 5y. If you remember, I think last time when we did a review for the test, and a recipe called for 3/4 cups. I said, if you're doing half of that, I said, what is 1/2? What's half of 3/4? What is 1/2 of 3/4? 1/2 means, of means multiply, so it's 1/2 times 3 over 4. And when you simplify that, that's 1 times 3, 3 over 8. Well, this is not a rational expression because, algebraic expression. Algebraic expression is supposed to have x's in them. So this really not an algebraic expression, but of means multiply. So if I said to you, what is 1/2 of x? What does that mean then? It's 1/2 times x. And you can write that as 1/2 x. And if you don't like that, you can change it to what? X over 2. Why? Why is it x over 2? What is x sitting on top of what? 1. And when you multiply, don't you multiply the top times the top? So 1 times x, which is x. The bottom, 2 times 1, which is 2. So you can write it 1/2 x or x over 2. Again, this is not an algebraic expression. Why? Because I said algebraic expression is what? Is an expression that contains variables, constants, and operation. Show me a variable here. Nothing. But I wanted to show you of means multiplication. We did that last practice test, if you remember, on Tuesday, yesterday. Whatever it was. So that's an algebraic expression, that's an algebraic expression, that's an algebraic expression. That's not an algebraic, but still tells me of means multiply. All of these tell me you got to multiply. And we'll look at the division. And again, the key words for division, look for divided by. Look for the word quotient. Quotient means division. From chapter 1. And look for over. And sometimes ratio. There's a whole chapter on ratio. That's why probably your book is not going to discuss ratio yet till we get to it. But ratio also another way of writing a fraction. When I say x divided by 5, you can write that x over 5 divided. The quotient of t and 3 and 3. Since t was written first, that will be t over 3. The quotient means division. X over 12. Over means divide. That will be what? X over 12. The ratio of x and 20. Ratio means division. Since x is first, so it's x over 20. So all of these let me know I have division. So these are algebraic expressions. It has a variable, it has a constant, and it has an operation in them. Every one of them has a variable, has a constant, has an operation. The book is not showing us how to solve equations yet, because that's where they're going to take us, to equations. But they're just going to show us where these expressions might come from. Because when we used to give equation, people say, where did you get that from? You know? So you'll see that soon. Right now, let's not lose sleep over it. If I said to you the expression is 9 over 5c plus 32, evaluate when c equals 45. So that's an algebraic expression. I want to know the value of this when c equals 45. So that's called evaluating algebraic expressions. Does anyone know what that equation is, or this expression? No, what does it? It means something. Anyone knows what it means? Anyone who lived in a country that used a Celsius temperature? Anyone knows something in the service? Somebody in the service? Someone? Iraq, Kuwait, or Arabia? They use Celsius, their temperature. So when they call, they say, oh, it's really hot here. The temperature is 45 degrees. You and I don't understand what 45 degrees Celsius is. If you take that 45, plug it in, that will tell you what the temperature there is. So that would be what? 9 over 5 times 45. That 45 is 45 over 1, right? Plus the 32. If you remember the order of operations, you're supposed to do what? Multiplications first. Let's multiply these two numbers. So I got to do these two first. Well, I can either multiply and simplify, or simplify then multiply. By 5 this is 1, by 5 this is what? 9. So this will be 9 times 9, which is 81 over what? 1 plus 32. Well, 81 over 1 is 81 plus the 32. Let's add them, and what is that? 113 degrees. So if you are taking chemistry, you probably cover this equation. It says Fahrenheit. We'll say F equals the temperature in Fahrenheit can be found using that expression. I don't want to write F equals to. I just want to give you the expression. So when someone said, oh, I'm in Saudi Arabia, Desert Storm, I'm in Afghanistan, today it was really hot, it's 45 degrees Celsius. Now you know that's 113 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll give you another one, another expression. I'll make something up. Let's say you have a $10,000 and you deposit them at a bank. The interest on that money, the expression for that is going to be, let's say it's 5% times the amount of money. 0.05 x. The interest is 5%. I mean, they're giving you 5% interest rate for, let's say, simple interest. So the amount of money, the interest you're going to collect on that money will be 0.05 times x. So evaluate this when x equals what? 10,000. So you have 10,000 bucks. You want to deposit that. If you leave that money in the bank for 1 year at a simple interest of 5%, which is none of you will get today. You won't even get a 1% today from the bank. After 1 year, if you go to take the money out, what do you have? You have 0.05 times 10,000. Now remember, we have a shortcut to multiply decimal numbers. If you're multiplying by 10,000, what do you do with the decimal point? You got to move it how many places? 4 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Any missing one becomes what? So you're going to get $500 worth of interest at the end of 1 year. If they give you 10,000. I mean, if they give you 5%, you put in 10,000. I'm actually going to get you mad for a second here with these numbers. That's why I always say math is so important. and people take it for granted. If you know your math, if you're good at calculating things, you can figure ways and, you know, to save money, not to do this or to do that. But here's what happens today. This is Bank of America. I'll pick on them. And you happen to have $10,000 with you. And you're going to deposit that in Bank of America. You're going to deposit that. Probably today, if you're lucky, Bank of America will give you 1% interest, and that's good. So the interest you will get yourself is 0.01x. 1% is 0.01 when we get to that number. Going from percent to a decimal. So this is how much interest you will get. So let's do the math. 0.01 and x is what? 10,000 is the amount of money you're depositing. And that will be $100. So at the end of 1 year, you can go get your money out. They give you the 10,000 that you put in. In addition to that, they give you what? $100. Does any of you have a credit card? Do you know what the interest rate on a credit card is?
Mine?
Yep. 15%. That's actually good. Some of them even higher, on the 20.
Some of them are like 20, 25.
Let's say 15%. So the bank is going to take the money and is going to give it to somebody at 15%. Loan, basically. They're giving you a loan. So this is 1% you're getting, but they're going to give it to somebody else at 15%, which is 0.15. So if you're the one, Dejavon, if you're the one to borrow that 10,000 to buy a car or to use your credit card, you're going to pay them interest 0.15 times x. X is the amount of money. Let's say you borrowed all the 10,000 that Jakeem gave them. So Jakeem had the money, gave it to the bank handed it to you. That's all the bank did. So let's see how much money. What's 0.15 times 10,000? So you move the decimal point how many places? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be $1,500. So Jakeem, I'm the bank. Jakeem gives me the money for the 10,000. I give you that money immediately. At the end of 1 year, I'm going to walk into Jakeem and say, thank you for the money. There's your money. I'm going to give you the 10,000 plus $100. Guess what you owe me now? There's your money. You owe me $6,500. I just made $1,400 on me just taking the money from Jakeem and hand it to you for 1 year. That's on 10,000.
10,000 minus 1,500.
Yep. No, you're gonna pay actually more. That's a loan for you. You're paying actually $6,500. You gotta pay me. So we just collected from. I just made $1,400 just to take the money from you and give it to her. On a 10,000. Imagine on a bigger scale with the millions of dollars they deal every day with. How much money? But that's how you evaluate expression. You plug them in and see. So if you know that, you can go to the bank and say, I'm not giving you 15%. You know? Or some of you might have the money sitting in the bank. Like some people, which has never amazed me, you have a car loan of 10,000, but you got 4,000 sitting in the bank. Pay the car loan because you're only getting less than 1%. If it's in saving, you're getting no interest on it. Pay the loan first because you're paying that much money.
You got me in my car.
Yep. Yep. Yep, that's what they do. That's how they make their money. Let's take another one, another expression. 2L minus 3W. Evaluate when, I don't know why an L there. When, I know why, L equals 10 and W equals 4. So what do? Replace L with what? 10. 3 times W, W is 4. Remember the order of operation. You got to do the multiplication before the subtraction. What's 2 times 10? 20 minus, what's 3 times 4? What's 20 minus 12? 8. Oh, wait, no. This one always like when I do this problem, because oh my goodness, now I can see why the bank sometimes will say, if you open an account with us, we'll give you $50.
It's like
You
make that
yeah,
money
you
out of
deposit the money. You go, oh, I'll do that. I'll give $50
Now looking at that,
because they're gonna get a lot of money. They're gonna give it to somebody else. Now imagine if somebody did large amount, like a retiree, where they take their retirement now and put it there, big chunk of money, 100,000, 200,000. We're talking about good chunk of money there. We'll get to that later in the course. Can't cover it now because we're just discussing expressions. Let's try a couple more, evaluate here and practice a few of these. Oh yeah. Let's see if you can, this is you to try it. I'm just going to review. I'm going to write this statement. The difference between a number and 5.1. How would you write the algebraic expression for this? The difference between a number and 5.1.
Anyway, you want us to say it? Or
That's the statement. Change it to algebraic expression. The word difference means what?
subtract?
Subtraction. So I know I have a subtraction. Between a number. Does anyone know what the number is?
No.
You can use any letter you want to use. M, N, T, whatever you want to. Since N number begins with N, I'll use N. But I could use X, I could use Y, I could use a T, W, and 5.1. That's how you write that. X increased by 2/3. How do you write that?
X plus.
Yep, X increase means what? Plus 2/3. Try another one. The product of 5 and P. The product of 5 and P. That's 5P, yes, 5 times P. Product, multiply. Evaluate. Four-fifth n if n equals 30. This will be what? 4/5 times n is what? That's 30 over what? 1. Do you want to simplify first and multiply? If you opted to do it that direction, by 5 this is 1, by 5 this is what? 6. What's 4 times 6? 24 over 1, which is what? 24. We'll do one more. Evaluate. X divided by 5 over 6 if x equals 1/6. Going back to chapter 2. Notice the fractions never leave. This will be what? 1/6 divided by 5 over 6. Dejavan, remember what the rule was last time? Yep, KFC. It's KCF. Keep, change, and flip. Keep, change, and flip. What happened to the 6's in the bottom? They cancel each other out. You're going to end up with what? 1/5. Keep the first one, change to multiplication, flip the second number. Next class, we're going to talk about solving simple equations. Equation that has only addition and subtractions in them, basic ones. And the class after that will do equation that has multiplication, division. Then we are done with this chapter. Now next class we have a test.